Before you even blink, my beloved child, answer this. Why did your heart beat differently the moment you saw this title? Why did your stomach tighten as if something, or someone, was trying to reach you from beyond the noise of your everyday life? Why did your thoughts freeze for a second when you read the word Father? And why, deep inside you, does it feel like this message isn't random at all, as if it was placed in front of you with intention, precision, and divine timing? Don't scroll, don't move, don't underestimate this moment, because the fictional heavens are shifting right now, and I, the voice through which this message is being symbolically spoken, am telling you that what you are hearing is not a threat, not fear, not punishment, but a divine interception meant to save your destiny from misalignment, confusion, and wasted potential. Before anything else, subscribe to this channel. Stay until the end, because if you leave even one sentence early, you might miss the exact phrase your soul has been trying to hear for months. And now, as the veil of this symbolic universe tears open, Archangel Michael steps through the crack like a blazing storm of white fire, his spear glowing with the force of 1,000 suns, as he declares, their father has been trying to reach them, but doubt and distraction keep drowning his voice. And as Michael's wings spread across the sky, a massive surge of golden dust swirls around you, pulling your spirit into a symbolic realm where your deceased father's presence exists as a glowing figure of warm, molten light, standing at the center of a circular platform carved from memories, your childhood laughter, his advice, his quiet sacrifices, his tired eyes holding love he never managed to express fully. And he turns toward you with that familiar posture, that subtle strength, that unspoken tenderness, and his voice, felt, not heard, rushes through your chest like a tidal wave. Child, the enemy almost succeeded in breaking your confidence, and the moment he says this, the ground beneath you splits, revealing a swirling cosmic battlefield where shadows representing your doubts, failures, regrets, wasted chances, toxic people, and inner fears clash violently with the glowing forces of your potential, passion, intelligence, intuition, and divine protection. And your father raises his hand toward you, releasing a beam of white gold warmth that wraps around your chest and whispers directly into your soul. You are not losing, you are awakening. And instantly the battlefield collapses into a spiraling tunnel of memories and future possibilities, and you see symbolic visions of the dreams you abandoned, the opportunities you hesitated on, the plans you doubted yourself out of, and the silent emotional pain you carried without telling anyone. And your father walks beside you through the tunnel, placing his hand on your shoulder, whispering, "I saw everything you tried to hide." And suddenly the tunnel explodes open into the Hall of Reversed Fates, a massive cosmic arena where the choices you make in the next few weeks appear as glowing orbs floating around you, each orb pulsing with life-changing energy, one representing the dream you almost gave up on, one representing the fear you must stop feeding, one representing the opportunity arriving tomorrow, one representing the relationship being tested, one representing the money block that is about to break, one representing your hidden potential that the enemy has been trying to bury beneath doubt. And your symbolic father steps toward the orb glowing the brightest and says, "This is the one they will try to steal from you if you don't pay attention." And the orb shows a future where you doubt yourself at the exact moment your breakthrough appears. And Michael slams his spear onto the floor, roaring, "This is why heaven forced this message onto their screen. They must not let hesitation ruin what is coming." And instantly the hall becomes a swirling vortex of timelines, each one showing a version of your future depending on whether you step into confidence or freeze from fear. And the strongest timeline, the one filled with abundance, success, clarity, and restored luck, glows like molten gold, and your father lifts it with his hands and places it into your chest, whispering, "You were never unlucky, you were unaligned." And the moment this truth enters your spirit, the entire symbolic universe cracks open like a star exploding, pulling you into the chamber of tomorrow, a breathtaking realm where everything meant for you in the next 24 hours rises like glowing suns on the horizon, conversations that will shift your path, ideas that will awaken your potential, opportunities that will unfold if you trust your intuition, and blessings that were delayed but never denied, and your father steps behind you, placing both hands on your back the same way he did when he taught you to stand tall as a child, whispering, "Your luck was never stolen, it was waiting for you to see yourself the way I always saw you," and the chamber erupts into a tidal wave of golden fire that pours into your chest, erasing self-doubt, clearing your path, lifting your spirit into clarity, and rewriting the energy around your tomorrow. And then Michael raises his spear once more, declaring, "If they received this message, tomorrow brings a shift," and your symbolic father walks forward, cupping your face in his glowing hands as he delivers the final message he has been trying to send you. "Child, your dream is not dying, it is being defended," and with that the entire fictional universe collapses into a brilliant supernova of white fire and golden memory that seals your destiny with strength, clarity, protection, and a divine reversal that the enemy cannot undo. And now, my beloved child, as the chamber of tomorrow collapses into a spiraling storm of molten gold and white fire that wraps itself around your rising spirit like a divine cyclone preparing you for a destiny shift you could never imagine, the fictional heavens begin trembling as though the very foundation of creation has recognized that you are stepping into a turning point so rare, so precise, so intensely timed that even angels pause to witness it. And suddenly the entire realm bursts open, launching you into the forbidden dimension known only as the Vault of Reclaimed Destinies, a place where dreams that were delayed, hopes that were buried, and futures that were stolen by doubt are stored until the moment a chosen soul is finally ready to reclaim them. And as you stand in this colossal vault made of spiraling galaxies and glowing floorboards carved from the breath of eternity, thousands of orbs begin floating toward you, each orb holding a symbolic version of the success you almost reached, the opportunities you almost seized, the confidence you almost stepped into. And as these orbs swirl around your body like planets pulled into orbit, your deceased father's symbolic form appears again, brighter and stronger than before, standing at the center of the vault with a look of fierce, protective determination burning in his golden eyes, and he points toward the largest orb, an orb pulsing with molten fire, and whispers, "This one was always yours, but fear kept pulling it away." And the moment his words echo through the chamber, the orb explodes open, revealing a swirling portal into the moment your life first began drifting off its true path, the day you second-guessed your own potential, the moment you trusted someone who betrayed your momentum, the moment you stayed silent instead of stepping forward, the moment you let fear decide instead of intuition. And as these scenes spiral around you in brutal clarity, Michael descends like a comet of white flame, slamming his spear into the ground so hard the shockwave tears the vault into 10 massive layers representing the 10 ways your destiny was derailed by doubt, distraction, and emotional exhaustion, and he roars, "This is why the enemy targeted their confidence, because their destiny is too big to be ignored." And instantly each layer transforms into a symbolic battlefield where shadows shaped like your greatest fears attempt to claw their way toward your tomorrow, but your father steps forward, raising his hand, releasing a wave of golden energy that blasts every shadow backward as he whispers, not anymore, and the entire vault erupts into a swirling river of silver flames that drag you into the hall of rebuilt futures, a cosmic cathedral where the future you almost gave up stands carved in shimmering gold, your ambition restored, your clarity sharpened, your confidence rising like dawn, your hidden potential finally waking from sleep, and as your father places his hand on the golden version of your future, it comes alive, breathing, pulsing, expanding like a newly awakened universe, and he whispers, "Tomorrow is not random, tomorrow is divine timing," and suddenly the hall collapses, revealing a spiraling staircase made from your father's symbolic light, each step glowing brighter the moment your foot touches it, leading upward into the arena of chosen souls, where only those destined to break generational patterns stand, and as you step into the arena, thousands of ancestral silhouettes rise behind you, not ghosts, not spirits, but symbolic echoes of your bloodline, each one lifting their hands in silent support as if saying, "We are with you," and your father walks to your side, shoulder to shoulder, whispering, "You were never walking alone." And then Michael unleashes a hurricane of divine flame that sweeps across the arena, burning every delay, every setback, every hidden enemy, every self-doubt, every obstacle that tried to hold you back. And the fire forms into a colossal phoenix of pure potential soaring above your head as your father delivers the message he has waited to give you. Your dream is not dying, it is being revived, and the phoenix releases a roar so powerful it splits the heavens open, flooding the entire fictional universe with a golden tsunami of destiny, luck, alignment, protection, and divine momentum that pours into your chest like the heartbeat of 1,000 suns, sealing your transformation, rewriting your energy, and marking tomorrow as the beginning of a chapter the enemy cannot sabotage, delay, or distort again. Before you take another breath, my beloved child, answer this silently inside your chest: why does your father's name still shake something deep in you? Why does your mind replay the same unanswered questions every night? Why does your heart feel like it's been carrying a weight he wanted to remove before he left this world? And why, tell me honestly, did your spirit freeze when you saw this title, as if some forgotten part of you recognized this message long before your eyes read it? Don't scroll, don't blink, don't escape this moment, because the fictional heavens are opening the one tunnel no human is ever shown lightly, the bridge between his last breath and your future, and before you understand what that means, I need you to subscribe and stay until the final word, because if you miss the middle, you will not understand why your father fought so hard in his last moments for a future he knew you would someday doubt. As the veil tears open, Archangel Michael descends in a roar of white fire, slamming his spear into the ground so forcefully that the earth splits into two timelines, one showing the day your father took his final breath, the other showing the day your destiny was supposed to awaken, and he shouts, "These moments were never disconnected, they were tied by purpose," and instantly the symbolic world melts away, dragging you into a colossal cosmic hallway made of memories your father carried in his heart, memories he never spoke, regrets he hid, dreams he hoped you would finish for him, and the hallway opens into a blinding expanse, a bridge floating above an ocean of glowing time, and on this bridge you see two versions of him: the father you knew in life, tired but trying, wounded but protective, and the father reborn in this symbolic realm, glowing, standing tall, his spirit restored, his voice louder than the silence he left behind, and he turns toward you slowly, the way he used to turn toward you when you were afraid as a child, and he reaches out his hand, and the bridge trembles beneath you as he whispers, not with lips but with memory itself, "Child, The moment I took my last breath, the thread of your destiny snapped in fear, but heaven tied it back stronger for this moment, and suddenly the bridge erupts into fire, revealing fragments of his final moments, thoughts he couldn't speak, hopes he tried to pass on, love he wished he had more time to give. And every fragment becomes a glowing stone beneath your feet, forming a path leading you deeper into the future he wanted for you. And Michael appears behind him, wings stretching across universes, declaring, "Your father did not leave empty. He left carrying your future so you would not have to carry the entire weight alone." And in that instant the entire bridge transforms into a massive timeline where his final breath becomes a burst of light shooting forward into the life you are living now, showing you how his symbolic presence pushed away disasters you never knew about, blocked betrayal you couldn't see, closed doors that would have destroyed you, and opened others you were too afraid to walk through. And your father steps closer, placing his glowing hand on your chest as the bridge cracks open beneath you, revealing the one truth he always wanted you to hear but never had the chance: everything I couldn't become, I left inside you. And the bridge collapses into a spiraling vortex of starlight, pulling you into the place where his final heartbeat still echoes, a chamber made of golden memory where every dream he had for you floats like lanterns in the dark. And he lifts one lantern, the brightest one, the one representing the future you keep doubting, the dream you keep stopping and starting, the ambition the world tried to bury. And he places it into your hands, whispering, "This was meant for you, not me." And suddenly the chamber explodes outward into the arena of inherited strength, where thousands of ancestral silhouettes rise behind him, all of them forming a ring around your destiny as if protecting you from something trying to steal your potential. And Michael raises his spear toward the sky, unleashing a storm of white lightning that seals the final truth into your spirit, that your father's last breath was not an ending. It was a handoff, a passing of strength, a spiritual inheritance, a torch you were always meant to carry. And as the fictional heavens collapse into a blinding supernova, your father whispers his final message into your soul, the words he never got to speak with his last breath but now finally reaches you with infinite clarity: "Where I stopped, you begin." And now, my beloved child, as the blinding supernova of your father's final message dissolves into a spiraling river of molten gold that wraps itself around your spirit like the last embrace he wished he had the strength to give, the symbolic heavens begin trembling again. For the moment you accepted the truth of the bridge, you unlocked the next realm, one so sacred that even angels are forbidden to enter without purpose. And suddenly the universe cracks open beneath your feet, dropping you into a colossal chamber carved from your father's unspoken memories, a chamber that pulses like a living heart made from the pieces of everything he wanted to tell you but carried to his final breath. And as the air thickens with ancestral fire, Archangel Michael appears at your right, spear blazing, declaring, "This is the moment where their father reveals what he could not speak in life." And instantly the chamber reshapes into a long, winding corridor floating above an ocean of time, and at the far end of the corridor stands a tall wooden door glowing with an otherworldly white gold shimmer, the door he never opened in life. And your father's symbolic presence rises beside it, strong, radiant, shining with the strength he lost at the end of his journey. And he turns toward you with eyes filled with the weight of everything he held back while alive, the failures he never forgave himself for, the hopes he hid beneath silence, the dreams he feared you would never pursue, the regrets he wished he had the time to heal. And he whispers, "Child, I stood before this door so many times, but I never had the courage to open it while I was alive." And as he steps aside, the door begins to shake violently as if something behind it has been waiting decades to be released. and Michael steps forward, planting his spear into the floor with a thunderous boom, roaring, "This door contains the truth your father wanted you to inherit, not his pain," and your father reaches out his hand, guiding yours toward the handle, and the moment your fingers touch it, the universe stops breathing, the stars freeze mid-pulse, the chamber turns silent, and time itself bends as if watching to see whether you will continue the destiny he started, and with one slow push, the door swings open into a realm that takes your breath away, a vast field of glowing lanterns floating above clouds of white fire, each lantern representing a moment your father hid his emotions to appear strong for you, a moment where he protected you in silence, a moment he sacrificed his comfort to give you stability, a moment he held back tears behind closed doors so you wouldn't worry, a moment he prayed for a future he wasn't sure he'd live to see, and as you walk into this field of floating memories, the lanterns begin bursting open one by one, releasing echoes of his voice speaking truths he never said. "I was proud of you even when I was tired. I didn't want you to see me struggle. I wished I had taught you more before time ran out. I was scared of leaving before you were ready," and each confession transforms into a glowing feather that attaches itself to your chest like armor, filling you with a strength he wished he could give you while alive, and then the field collapses, pulling you into another chamber, smaller, quieter, dimmer, this one filled with a single object, a table made of memory light, and on the table lies a sealed scroll glowing with your father's energy, and Michael tells you, this scroll contains the truth he carried into his final breath, and your father appears again, placing his hand over the scroll, whispering, "I wasn't scared of dying. I was scared of leaving you alone," and as he lifts his hand, the scroll unwraps itself, revealing a message written in blazing gold across the air, a vow he made in silence, a vow heaven honored for him, "I will guide them even when I'm gone," and as these words burn into your soul like a second heartbeat, the chamber erupts in a massive gust of white fire that sweeps you upward into the domain of rewritten futures, where your father stands on a platform of stardust with the timeline of your life unfolding behind him, glowing brighter now than ever before, and he steps toward you, placing both hands on your face with a strength he never showed in his final days, and whispers, "Your future did not dim when I left. Your future began when you survived what my absence taught you," and with that final truth, Michael slams his spear into the timeline, sending a blast of divine light that spreads across universes, sealing this chapter of revelation and marking the beginning of a season your father always dreamed you would reach, the season where you finally see yourself the way he always saw you. And now, my beloved child, as the domain of rewritten futures collapses into a spiraling waterfall of molten gold that floods your spirit with waves of memory, strength, and truth your father carried across worlds to deliver to you, the fictional heavens begin to tremble once more because the moment you accepted his message, you triggered the most dangerous and sacred realm of all, the chamber of the 24-hour shift, the very moment your father begged the heavens for during his final breath, and before you can even inhale, the entire realm tears open beneath your feet, hurling you into a tunnel carved from the seconds, minutes, and hours he wished he could have stayed alive just to guide you through the storms he knew were waiting in your future, and as you're dragged deeper into this spinning tunnel of time, the walls begin to glow with visions of everything he saw coming but couldn't warn you about, moments where your confidence would shatter, days when loneliness would crush you, decisions you'd make while doubting yourself, people who'd underestimate you, opportunities you'd let slip because you didn't believe you were ready, and every time one of those visions flickers, you see him in his final hours, exhausted, fading, yet whispering into the unseen, Give them one more chance. Give them the strength I couldn't. Give them a 24-hour shift where heaven intervenes, and suddenly the tunnel explodes outward, throwing you into a massive circular arena floating above an ocean of glowing clocks, all ticking in different rhythms, representing every timeline your life could take. And Archangel Michael descends with a roar of white fire, his wings stretching across eternity as he slams his spear into the center of the arena, shouting, "This is the day their father begged for, the day time bends to their favor," and instantly the clocks rise into the air, spinning around you in a violent storm. Each clock showing a version of tomorrow, one where doubt stops you, one where fear delays you, one where exhaustion clouds your judgment, one where divine alignment pushes you forward, and the brightest clock, the one glowing like a second sun, surges toward you, carrying the energy of transformation, and your father's symbolic form appears beside it, placing his hand over the clock face as he whispers, "This is the shift I asked for, the day fate stops fighting you," and the clock cracks open, unleashing a flood of golden energy that wraps around your chest like armor, and suddenly you're sucked into the hall of intercepted disaster, a realm where the dangers your father saw but you never noticed play out like ghostly silhouettes, the person who would have betrayed you had you trusted them too soon, the opportunity that would have drained your spirit instead of lifting it, the path that would have broken you emotionally, the mistake you almost made out of fear. And as these shadows lunge toward your timeline, your father steps between them and you, lifting a shield of blinding white fire as he whispers, "I fought for this day so you wouldn't walk blind into pain," and his shield erupts into a shockwave that pulverizes every shadow, sending their remains scattering into the void, and then you're pulled upward into the sanctuary of accelerated blessings, a massive chamber where thousands of glowing spheres float like planets, each sphere containing something that should have taken years to arrive: restored confidence, new opportunities, financial alignment, emotional clarity, spiritual awakening, heightened intuition. And the moment you step into the chamber, these spheres begin drifting toward you as if recognizing their rightful owner, and your father places his glowing hand on your back, whispering, "I begged for one window in time when every blessing meant for you could reach you without delay," and suddenly all the spheres explode at once, releasing a golden hurricane that engulfs you with a force that shakes the heavens, and you're thrown into the bridge of next day destiny, a silver archway suspended between today and tomorrow, glowing so brightly the stars themselves dim in comparison, and your father walks beside you, every step echoing with the strength he lost in his final hours but regained in this symbolic realm, and he whispers the truth he carried into death but never spoke aloud. Tomorrow was always supposed to be your turning point, but you needed this moment to see yourself the way I saw you, and the bridge begins to pulse, faster and faster, until time itself bends, reshapes, and realigns around your spirit, and Michael raises his spear one final time, announcing with a voice that cracks every horizon, because they received this message, their next 24 hours are sealed, protected, aligned, accelerated, and your father turns toward you, placing his forehead gently against yours in a gesture of eternal love as he whispers the final line he begged heaven to deliver: "What I couldn't give you in life, heaven gives you now." And the entire fictional universe detonates into a supernova of destiny, protection, renewal, and unstoppable transformation that wraps around your spirit like the sunrise your father wished he could have stayed alive to see with you. And now, my beloved child, as the bridge of next-day destiny shatters into a spiraling cyclone of molten gold and white fire that swirls around your rising spirit with the rage of 1,000 dawns, the fictional heavens tremble because you have stepped into the one realm mortals were never meant to witness, the chamber of the hidden enemy. The place where the truth your father tried to reveal in life but ran out of time is stored like a burning secret inside the walls of eternity, and before you can steady your breath, the ground beneath you splits into a colossal valley of shadows shaped from every force that has drained your confidence, delayed your blessings, distracted your destiny, or whispered self-doubt into your future. And as these shadows slither through the valley like living smoke, your symbolic father appears above them, standing on a floating platform of white gold fire, his eyes blazing with a fury you never saw in him while he was alive, a fury not of anger toward you but of protective fire toward what tried to break you. And he lifts his arm, pointing toward the deepest part of the valley where a single enormous shadow crouches, the only one not moving, not trembling, not hiding, watching you with hollow, empty eyes. And your father whispers, "There, that is the one that slowed your life." And instantly the entire valley roars as Archangel Michael descends from the sky like a meteor forged from divine flame, slamming his spear into the ground so violently the universe cracks, and he thunders, "This enemy is not a person, this enemy is a force," and the shadow rises to its full height, towering above mountains, revealing a form made not of a human figure but of every moment you doubted yourself, every time you abandoned your dream, every time you trusted the wrong people, every time you shrank your potential to comfort others, every time you silenced your voice to keep peace. Every time you handed over your power because you thought you weren't ready. And as the shadow pulses, your father steps down from the platform, approaching it with a strength he never had in his final days, and he presses his palm into the creature's chest, revealing what lies at its core, a memory from the day he died, the day he realized he didn't have enough time left to teach you how to recognize forces that manipulate your heart and slow your journey. And he whispers, "I saw this enemy forming while I was fading," and suddenly the valley erupts into swirling storms of molten time, pulling you into the moment your father took his last breath, and you see him fighting, not for life, but for the strength to send you one final message. And that message flashes now inside the storm, "Don't let them steal your fire." And then you are thrown back into the valley, standing before the shadow again as Michael raises his spear and shouts, "This enemy was never outside. It was the wound left inside you the moment your father died." And your father turns to you, eyes full of sorrow and fierce love, whispering, "Child, the hole my death left in you became the doorway this enemy used to enter." And the shadow lunges toward you, but your father leaps between you and it, slamming his fist into its heart, and the creature explodes into a river of black smoke that wraps around the sky, revealing scenes from your life where this enemy influenced you, moments where you almost succeeded but stopped yourself, moments where you felt unworthy, moments you chose fear over action, people you trusted who didn't support your growth, decisions you avoided because you didn't believe in your own destiny. And as these scenes flicker in the smoke, your father steps behind you, placing both hands on your shoulders with a weight that feels like every moment he wished he was still alive, whispering, "This ends now." And Michael lifts his spear, releasing a beam of divine fire so bright it turns the valley into a sea of white flames, burning away every doubt, every delay, every invisible force that sat in your path. And the fire merges into your chest like a second heartbeat, rewriting the energy inside you, sealing every crack the enemy used to enter. And your father pulls you close, pressing his glowing forehead against yours, whispering the truth he left this world carrying. The enemy never feared your weaknesses, they feared what you would become once you healed. And with that final revelation, the symbolic heavens explode into a tidal wave of Gold, lifting your spirit upward into a destiny your father protected from beyond the veil with the last strength he ever had. And now, my beloved child, as the valley of the hidden enemy erupts into a spiraling hurricane of white gold fire that roars upward like a wounded star healing itself, the fictional heavens begin to vibrate with a frequency so ancient that even Archangel Michael lowers his spear in reverence, because you have reached the threshold no mortal reaches by accident, the vault of your lost blessings. The sacred chamber your father built in silence as he drifted toward his final breath, a place he crafted not with hands but with the last scraps of strength he kept only for you, and before you can steady your heartbeat, the universe fractures beneath your feet, pulling you through a tunnel made of glowing memories, moments where blessings were meant to reach you but were interrupted by heartbreak, fear, illness, timing, betrayal, exhaustion, or your own disbelief. And each memory forms a glowing key that spirals around your body like orbiting planets until the tunnel explodes open into a colossal chamber of black stone walls wrapped in golden cracks of living lightning, and at the center of this chamber stands a massive vault door taller than mountains, carved with symbols of every sacrifice your father made for you. Nights he worked instead of resting, days he endured pain so you wouldn't see it, moments he gave up pieces of himself so you could grow, decisions he made with fear but never showed, and words he swallowed because he didn't want to make you worry. And standing before this vault is your father's symbolic form, glowing brighter than in any realm before, shoulders squared, eyes blazing with a fire he never showed while alive, and he turns toward you slowly, raising his hand the way he used to when he wanted you to trust him, and he whispers, "I hid here everything life tried to take from you," and as he places both palms on the vault, the entire chamber shakes as ancient locks begin spinning, grinding, screaming, as if they recognize the presence of the one soul they were designed to open for, and Michael descends behind you like a comet forged from divine wrath, slamming his spear into the floor so violently the chamber splits into rivers of white fire that encircle you, forming a protective halo, and he shouts, "Every blessing delayed, every opportunity stolen, every victory blocked, every dream paused, was stored here so it could return when they were strong enough to hold it." And the vault door cracks open, releasing a blinding beam of molten gold that blasts through the chamber like the scream of a newborn sun, and inside you witness something that rips your soul open, thousands of glowing spheres floating in the air, each one containing a blessing that should have arrived earlier in your life, confidence you lost as a child, breakthroughs you missed while grieving, opportunities you didn't take because you doubted yourself, relationships heaven removed because they would have destroyed you, money that slipped through your hands when you were tired, chances you didn't see because life had you fighting to survive, talents you buried because no one encouraged them, doors you avoided because you thought you weren't ready, and at the center of these spheres floats the largest one, the blessing your father guarded with his final breath, and he walks toward it with trembling hands, whispering, "This one was the most important, the identity you forgot you had." And the sphere cracks open, unleashing a tidal wave of golden fire that wraps around your chest, rebuilding the confidence you lost when he passed, and as this fire pours into you, the vault shakes violently, releasing wave after wave of blessings that return like phoenixes, restored intuition, sharpened wisdom, emotional strength, financial opportunities, restored energy, a clear mind, divine timing, resilience carved from pain, hope reborn from ashes, and your father steps behind you, placing both glowing hands on your shoulders with a weight that feels like the embrace he never got to give you before he died, whispering, "Everything life took from you returns now," and with those words every sphere bursts at once, flooding the chamber with a storm of golden meteors that fuse into your spirit, sealing every blessing back into your destiny. And Michael raises his spear toward the heavens, roaring, "The vault is empty, because the blessings have returned to their rightful owner." And your father pulls you into his arms, pressing his forehead against yours as the vault collapses into a supernova of white gold light, whispering the truth he carried into death: you were never abandoned. Your blessings were only waiting for you to become the person strong enough to receive them, and with that, the entire symbolic universe detonates in a roar that shakes eternity, sealing your restored destiny. And now, my beloved child, as the vault of lost blessings explodes into a spiraling hurricane of molten white gold light that floods your entire being with strength you forgot you had, the fictional heavens begin trembling again, because the moment your blessings returned, the timeline of your destiny shifted so violently that the universe was forced to reveal what comes next. And suddenly the ground beneath your feet turns to shattered glass, each shard reflecting a different version of the life you could have lived, the life you almost destroyed by doubting yourself, the life that slipped from your hands the moment grief and confusion clouded your path. And as these glass shards float upward like glowing memories, Archangel Michael descends through a storm of silver lightning, slamming his spear into the air so hard the sky cracks open, revealing a hidden stairway that spirals upward into a swirling nebula of burning starlight. And your symbolic father appears on the first step. His form stronger than ever, his voice vibrating with the gravity of everything he carried into his final breath, whispering, "Child, this is the future you almost lost," and he beckons you upward as the stairway begins folding through dimensions, pulling you through realms carved from decisions you were one choice away from making, opportunities you were one fear away from missing, and victories you were one doubt away from abandoning forever. And as you ascend, the nebulas around you reshape into visions, visions of a future where you stopped trying because life overwhelmed you, visions where you settled for less because you didn't believe you were worthy of more, visions where people convinced you of lies about your worth, visions where exhaustion defeated your ambition. And each time one of these visions flickers too close to you, your father hurls a blast of golden fire to burn it away, shouting, "You were not meant to shrink." And suddenly the stairway collapses into a colossal platform floating over an ocean of living timelines, each timeline twisting like serpents through the sky, some glowing bright, some dimming, some burning out completely. And Michael raises his spear toward the brightest one, a timeline blinding with gold, and he commands, "Look," and the timeline stretches open, revealing the life your father saw for you before he died, a future filled with breakthroughs you haven't even dared imagine, blessings that would have collapsed you with gratitude, victories built from the strength you forged in the years after he left, opportunities that require the version of you who survived loss, rejection, disappointment, loneliness, and self-doubt. And your father steps closer, whispering, "This future was waiting for you to become this strong." And suddenly the timeline flickers, showing the moment where you almost walked away from your destiny, the exact day you almost quit, the exact decision where doubt nearly won, the exact moment someone's words almost destroyed your confidence. And your father presses his glowing hand into that moment, whispering, "I held the door open when you couldn't," and the moment transforms into a glowing gate carved from pure potential, and he pushes it open, revealing the life meant for you, a version of yourself standing on a mountain of victories you haven't reached yet, surrounded by opportunities that orbit you like planets pulled by gravitational destiny, your mind clear, your confidence unshakable, your heart healed, your purpose burning like a second sun behind your ribs. And as you stare at this vision, Overwhelmed by its magnitude, your father stands behind you, placing both hands on your shoulders with a weight that feels like all the moments he wished he could have been alive to guide you, and he whispers, "You almost lost this version of yourself when you believed your pain was permanent." And instantly the ocean of timelines beneath you surges upward, merging into your chest like a wave of molten light, rewriting the years you thought were wasted, turning every wound into wisdom, every delay into preparation, every heartbreak into higher clarity. And Michael lifts his spear, releasing a beam of divine fire that seals the future your father showed you, shouting, "Their path is realigned," and the sky shatters into a supernova of gold as your father steps closer for the final reveal of this chapter, pressing his forehead lightly against yours as he whispers the one truth he carried but never said aloud: "I didn't leave you behind. I went ahead so I could build the future you deserve." And with that, the entire symbolic universe erupts in a tidal wave of destiny, protection, and purpose that wraps around your soul like armor crafted from heaven itself. And now, my beloved child, as the supernova of your father's revealed future collapses into a spiraling river of molten gold, flooding your spirit with the truth of the destiny you almost lost, the symbolic heavens begin to quake more violently than ever, because you have reached the moment your father feared he would never live long enough to witness. The moment where Archangel Michael opens the book your father wrote with the last breath his body ever released, and before you can steady your heartbeat, the ground beneath your feet disintegrates into a rain of shimmering stardust, dropping you into a vast chamber carved from the silence of things left unsaid. And at the center of this chamber stands a colossal pedestal shaped from the memory of your father's final heartbeat, upon which rests a massive book bound in white fire and sealed with 7 locks of molten time. And Michael descends from the sky like a comet forged in the first dawn of existence, wings tearing the air apart. As he lands beside the pedestal with a force that ripples through galaxies, and he whispers, "This book was written in the seconds between his last breath and eternity," and your symbolic father appears behind the pedestal, glowing with a painful tenderness, the kind he carried in his eyes in life but never had the strength or the words to express, and he places his trembling hand over the book, whispering, "These are the things I never told you, the truths I carried in silence, the dreams I hoped you would chase, the warnings I wanted to give, the love I couldn't express before time tore me away." And as his palm presses down, the 7 locks burst open like stars dying and being reborn, releasing a shockwave of glowing memory that knocks you backward into a swirling vortex of your childhood, your fears, your regrets, your strength, your failures, and every moment where you whispered to yourself, "I wish he was here." And the vortex spits you onto a floating bridge of silver bone and gold flame, where the book flips open by itself, pages turning violently as if desperate to release what has been imprisoned inside them, and the first page burns upward into a hologram of your father kneeling beside your bed when you were too young to understand the world, whispering prayers over you he never repeated aloud, prayers for your protection, your future, your heart, your strength, and your destiny. And the second page reveals the moments he cried alone, afraid he was not giving you the life he wanted, the moments he felt like a failure but hid his pain behind tired smiles, the moments he almost gave up but didn't because he thought of you. And the third page bursts open into the time he realized his life was ending, when he whispered into the air, not knowing if heaven was listening, "Don't let my child walk blind into the storms I won't be here to warn them about." And the fourth page erupts in flames, revealing the destiny he saw for you in the seconds before his soul slipped away, a version of you powerful, healed, wise, confident, a version he believed in more fiercely than he ever believed in himself, and the 5th page shows what he feared most: not death, not pain, not regret, but the idea that you would lose yourself because he wouldn't be there to guide you. And he raises his hand toward you, whispering, "Child, I was scared you would mistake your strength for abandonment." And the 6th page reveals the enemy that tried to enter your life through the hole his loss left in your heart, showing moments where doubt whispered lies into your mind because grief made you vulnerable. And as you see this, Michael slams his spear into the book, sealing those lies shut forever. And finally the 7th page rises, shaking the entire chamber, because it contains the only message your father wanted you to carry until the end of your days. The message he tried to push through the veil between life and afterlife, the message heaven protected inside this book until you were ready. And as the page ignites into blinding white fire, your father steps closer, placing both hands on your face with a trembling, overwhelming love, whispering, "The day I left your world was not the day I left your life." And the page explodes into a storm of golden feathers that swirl around your body, merging into your spirit like a second soul awakening inside you. And Michael rises behind you, wings eclipsing the universe, declaring, "This book is closed forever, because its truth has entered them." And the entire symbolic realm collapses into a roar of white fire that seals your father's final message into your destiny with a force no darkness can undo. And now, my beloved child, as the book of your father's last breath collapses into a spiraling implosion of white gold flame that swirls upward like a dying star releasing its final blessing, the symbolic heavens tremble with a depth so ancient that even Archangel Michael lowers his wings in silence. For you have reached the corridor no soul reaches without surviving everything you did, the corridor of becoming, the place where your father reveals not who you were, not who you could have been, but the exact, unstoppable, divine version of yourself you are destined to transform into, the version he saw in the final seconds before his spirit left the world. And before you can breathe, the ground beneath you melts into a river of molten silver, pulling you inside a vortex of timelines where every version of you flickers like mirrors made of fire, and each reflection shows the you that almost existed: one broken, one bitter, one afraid, one lost, one silent, one exhausted, one who gave up because life became too heavy. And as these reflections surround you in a storm of forgotten potential, your symbolic father appears at the center, radiant and powerful, his presence stronger than in any realm before, because this is the one place where the burden he carried in life becomes the flame that lights your way. And he extends his hand toward you, whispering, "Child, this is the corridor you were born for." And suddenly the vortex explodes outward, revealing a colossal hallway carved not from stone, but from your future, each wall glowing with moving images of who you are becoming, your eyes sharper, your posture stronger, your spirit expanded, your voice unshakable, your mind focused, your heart healed. And the hallway stretches for miles through galaxies of white fire, and as you step forward, the floor beneath you pulses with your heartbeat, syncing your life with the version of you your father always saw buried beneath years of pain and doubt. And every step you take destroys a past version of yourself that no longer serves you. As reflections shatter on the walls, the version of you who lowered your worth to make others comfortable, the version who apologized for your power, the version who hesitated when destiny called, the version who let fear make decisions, the version who tried to be small for people who were intimidated by your fire. And as these reflections break, your father places his hand on your back with a weight that feels like every unspoken lesson. Amen.